I'll just kick off. I have um, a presentation that I was just going to run through, and it's just really, I suppose, to get us set up for the next day. I'll go back to the start here, and maybe just say a little bit about what to expect, and maybe what I might need you to do beforehand. Okay, so, and just to say to you as well, this is the first time I've done this, and I'm really excited, a little bit, not apprehensive, a little bit challenged by it. It's new for me to be facilitating. I've participated and stuff, but it's new for me to be facilitating it. So it'll be really interesting. So there's a couple of things maybe just to get your head around first. So what I was hoping in the seminar on the 26th was that you'll have had an opportunity. So the objective is really for you to have these experiences and to share your understanding of the experience. So the first is VR video. And the second thing is interactive VR. And the third thing, a game. And the fourth thing is social and educational spaces. So, I mean, just briefly what the real difference is between the four of those is that VR video is static, really. So it is, it's three-dimensional video that really you don't need your controller to do anything. You just log into the video and you become part of this 360 scene, which most of the time now is dynamic. So you're moving, but you've no control over your movement. So it's just really somebody had a 360 camera and they shot a film. And now what you are is you're taking the place of that camera and you can see what they filmed in 3 dimensions. So what we're going to do is we're going to have that experience, and you can share that. Some of you might have already done it. The next thing I want to do is look at interactive VR. And what interactive VR is it's 360 experience again, but it gives you a degree of control. So you define where you go and what you do. So you're not just a passenger, you have a degree of control. And that control is limited by our device. And I'll talk about that in a second. So the VR headset and the controller limit the amount of control the player can have. That's the second thing we're going to do. The third thing we're going to do is we're going to play a game. So it's just to give you an experience of how a game might work in VR. And the fourth thing is that we're going to look at engaging in a social space in VR. So that means we're going to interact with each other and potentially with other people in a virtual reality space. So they're the four things I really am keen that we'll use the headsets to experience. The next thing then is what we're going to look at is a discussion on how you might use VR in development education and looking at climate change. I've also been looking at making and sharing art using VR. Another one is relaxation and well-being. Another is VR and STEAM, or probably more STEM in terms of we'll have looked at art, but we'll look at it again. And that's really, I suppose, speaking to, the overall project and maybe some of the stuff that you're doing or you're interested in doing yourselves. And then I sort of want to look at a space within that for looking at VR in a youth work context. So coming out of the seminar next Tuesday week, this is what I'd hope you'll have all had an opportunity or exposure to. How does that sound? Is there anybody would like something different, or is there anything that you think about that you'd like me to look at again, or you'd like to review? Does it sound okay?
Yeah, that seems
Yeah,
fine.
that sounds fine.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what I want to talk about this is just to this is the only well, it's not technical. This is the only VR slide really I have in this. And what this is just to explain. It's just to explain the different headsets. So if you look at the Oculus Go, once you put the headset on, the machine, the technology in the Oculus Go can understand if you're moving your head in 3 dimensions. So up, down, left, right. So any movement of your head, the machine understands that you're moving your head, and it changes the picture to suit where you're looking. So you look to the right and it changes the picture to the right. And it actually, say it acknowledges a nod as a nod. So there are some applications where they ask you, you answer yes by nodding and answer no by shaking your head left to right. So that's 3 degrees of freedom. And the 3 degrees means your head moves X, Y, and Z axes. So it moves in the 3 axes. Now, the other thing that the Oculus Go has is the controller. So some people would say that the Oculus Go has 4 degrees of freedom. It has the head movement, but it also has the capacity to point and press. So really what you have here in the controller is really a mouse. It's a mouse. It doesn't give you a huge amount of mobility, but it allows you interact with the environment by pointing and pressing. And that's really useful. And it gives you a degree of control. Now, new machines and, not new machines, sorry, higher level machines and higher priced machines have what's called 6 degrees of freedom. And 6 degrees of freedom allow you to look left, right, up, down, all around, all of that. But it also allows you to move. So your movement, your physical movement, is mimicked in the 3-dimensional environment. So you can walk, physically walk, and in walking, you can move through the environment. So that's what's called, and you can move left, right, up, down in 3 dimensions. And that that means that there's 6 degrees of freedom. And that obviously allows you to do a lot more. But if you look at the new units, what they have as well, the Oculus Quest would be the newest version of the Oculus Go. The Oculus Quest has the 6 degrees of freedom, but it also has 2 hand units. So you have a controller in your left hand and a controller in your right hand. And what it means, that's very different, is that it means your avatar in virtual reality in the Oculus Go can look up and down, and if I'm looking at you and your head is going left to right, I can see the head on the avatar going left to right. If you move left, move right, move up, jump, whatever, I see your avatar jumping. And what it also allows you to do is, because you have controllers in your hand, you can raise your hand and the avatar in virtual reality raises its hand. So the extent to which you can mimic my real movements and encourage me to behave, act in a particular way is much more well developed when you start having 6 degrees of freedom and the hand units. Now, the thing about that is that it is obviously much more expensive. So to get that level of freedom, and to have a head unit that isn't connected to a computer, and a powerful computer at that. The next step up from the Oculus Go is the Oculus Quest, and that costs about 600, maybe 700 euro. They're very hard to get right at the moment and fair play to Barbara and Catherine for having sourced the Oculus Go's. They're hard to get at the moment as well, but they're limited. They're limited, or more limited, but they're a really good starting introduction to virtual reality. Okay, so what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk to you first about some of the things that maybe I need you to look at before we start, or before next Tuesday. So the first thing is there's a couple of apps, and I'll go through each of the apps that I want you to download. The other thing is I want you to get familiar with the basics. So some of you already have, but I just want you to go through a couple of things that will get you familiar with the basics. And the third thing I want you to do is to set up what's called Allspace. And Allspace is a social space in virtual reality, and it's the space we're going to use for our meeting. Okay, so what I want to get started on is 360 video. And what I might suggest that you would do, this PowerPoint will be sent on to you, so you'll have a copy of it. You don't need to take it down, is that there is an app called Welcome to Virtual Reality. It's a big enough, I think it's 400 megabytes or whatever. I'm just after getting new Wi-Fi or new broadband into the house, so it downloaded it in a couple of minutes. If I had my old Wi-Fi, it could take maybe half an hour or an hour to download 400 megabytes. But it's an introduction to virtual reality, and it's quite good. It's actually quite good. So it gives you a sense in a very structured way as to what is happening in virtual reality. So I'd suggest that as an introduction, it's a good one to look at. The second thing, so what you'll do is when you go into your, when you have the headset on, you just look for the search button or the search bar, and you highlight the search bar and you look for Welcome to Virtual Reality, and it'll direct you towards that. It's a video really, more so than an app, but it'll direct you towards the app. The next app that I was hoping you'd look for is, there's two apps that are used a lot to access 360 videos. One is the BBC Virtual Reality app, and the second one is the Oculus Video app. And what I'd suggest you do is you download both of them. The Oculus Video might already come with your machine, already uploaded, so you might be able to see it there. But it's the search engine for 360 videos in Oculus. The BBC app you'll have to go looking for again on the search bar and look at BBC Virtual Reality, and it'll bring you to the app. So there's three videos. There's three videos on each of those apps I was hoping that you would look at. And I'm not saying everybody would look at all three videos. But what I would like is for everybody to have looked at one video on each of the two apps. And I gave a range of different videos. So you can pick which one sort of appeals to you. So Crossing the Sky is about two young sisters' journey to school in, I think it's Nepal. And it is really interesting as a young person's view, a young woman's experience of accessing education. That's one video. The second video is called People Just Do Nothing. And this is on the BBC Virtual Reality app. And this is an experience of rap music. So it's a rap band playing for you as the viewer. Actually, the scenario is that they create this story where you're a record producer and they have to kidnap you. So they kidnap you, hold you in their house, and then play you their music in the hope that you'll sign them up. So that's it. It's fun. And then the third one from the BBC is about the Easter Rising, so 1916. And it's really interesting as a piece of animated production made by the BBC to reflect, I suppose, the 100th anniversary of the 1916 Rising. It's an interesting one. So I'd encourage you to pick which one of the three. You're by all means look at it, but just pick one that you're going to focus on. And then the Oculus video, pick one of these three. The first one is Ørsted 360 VR Space. So it's a reflection on climate change, but it's doing it by giving people an experience of visiting space. And yeah, that's the idea. The second one is Nebraska Stories, which is about, it's a 360 art exhibition that somebody has set up. And PewDiePie 1 is a 360 experience of Minecraft. So it's a guy called Jacksepticeye, and anybody under 15 will know who Jacksepticeye is. Many of you might as well, but he's a YouTuber, and he's an Irish YouTuber, and he's created this. So again, just as an experience of how you can create a 3D experience of Minecraft in Minecraft. So he's just put this together, and that's so before we meet, before next Tuesday, what I'd hope is that everybody will have looked at 2 of these videos, and what I'll do is I'll break you into small groups during the seminar, and you can talk about your experience of having watched those videos. Before I move on, is that okay? Is everybody okay with that, or is there any sort of questions in relation to it?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
I was just having a look on the phone app, just at the ones that you were telling us about there. The BBC one is called, I think, BBC VR, just if people are looking for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. What I would say, what I've done as well is, you see the picture I have there, we wait. I might have spoken to you about this before. It's about Syrian refugees traveling across Europe, and it's after going missing on me. I can't find it. And I'm not saying I don't want any of you looking for it, but if you come across it, tell me where it is, because I found it to be quite an interesting, or quite a good video, and it was by the BBC, but they've taken it off their site. The BBC, I think, are moving out of this. What I would say to you as well is that of the 2 video apps, the BBC requires faster download speeds. The Oculus video doesn't. So if you haven't good broadband, you may have problems with the BBC, but you shouldn't have with the Oculus video, and that's why I gave you 2 different options. If for whatever reason your broadband isn't good enough for the BBC, it'll work okay for the Oculus. Okay, so that's the videos. The next thing that I was hoping that you would do, and then watching the videos is, like, the videos are about 3 minutes each. The next thing I wanted you to do before the seminar, if you can find time to do this, it would be great. The time isn't going to be in doing the thing, it's downloading it more so than anything else. But there are 3 interactive experiences that I was hoping that you'd pick one of these to, to experience. One is called Breaking Boundaries in Science, and it's about women in science. And it's limited interaction, it's limited interactivity, but you will need to use your controller to. It's like a bit of a game. It's a bit of a game. It's not a game, but you need to use your controller to answer questions, to progress, and to learn about. I think there's 3 women featured in it. That's one. The second one is I was looking at art as a medium, and there's 2 apps that you could look at. One is called ArtGate, and the second is Art Plunge. And Art Plunge, the app is Art Plunge, but the Art Plunge costs money to download. So there's a review of the Art Plunge, which is sufficient to give you the experience. So rather than paying to download the app, if you just look at the review. And ArtGate is a gallery. It's actually, as far as I know, it's a gallery, it's a private gallery that people can buy and sell art in. So you pay as an artist to have your art exhibited in this online gallery, and you can buy pieces of art if you want to from the gallery. And the Art Plunge then is, I think it's a really interesting idea. What it's doing is it takes classic art scenes and renders them in 3 dimensions, so you can walk through the scene. That's that. And then Wonders of the World is a more substantial app. So again, I don't know, 400 maybe megabytes or 300 megabytes to download it. But it's a history app, a cartoon sort of animated history app that allows you to visit different sites, historic sites. And again, for young people, it's, I mean, for everybody, it's interesting, but it's quite interactive. And it uses the full power of the Oculus Go. Every sort of, it uses it to its limit. So if you want to see what an Oculus Go can actually do, you know, Wonders of the World will show you that. So you just pick one of the 3 that you feel comfortable working or experiencing, and then what we'll do is we'll break into groups and you can tell us what you thought of them as, I suppose, interactive experiences in virtual reality. So that's the 2 things I was hoping to do. There's a third thing, which is the most important. The other 2 are important, but this is what will enable us to do the seminar on Tuesday, and that's to load up Allspace. And Allspace is the app that allows you to meet in virtual reality. So basically you do the exact same. It's for free. It's owned by Microsoft, I think. Yeah, it's Microsoft owns it. And it's, so just to load up the app, it'll take a couple of minutes to load. What you will need to do is set up a profile for yourself. Even though you have a profile, or you might have been asked to set up a profile when you were loading up your Oculus Go, you'll be asked for an Allspace profile as well. And it's just very basic. I've never gotten any emails. I've never gotten any unsolicited emails from them as a result of having registered. I mean, it is very, very legitimate site. you create, and then within it, there's a tutorial, and the tutorial just helps you learn how to get around. It is very, very disorientating. Sorry, it takes a little bit of getting used to. 10-15 minutes will do you, but it's quite an interesting experience. This isn't absolutely necessary, but if you wanted to, you could also download Allspace on your PC. Now, the thing about downloading Allspace on your PC is that unless you have a very powerful PC, you won't be able to use Allspace on your PC. But the website will tell you if there's any interesting things coming up on your headset. The reason I say that is that in Allspace, there's always seminars and there's always events organized. So, and they happen in real time. So it's not like YouTube, where if you miss it, you can watch it. You can't. If you miss it, you've missed it. So on the PC, when you access the website, it tells you all the things that are coming up. So it might be interesting for you to look and see, okay, I wouldn't mind attending a meditation session. It's happening tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, or I wouldn't mind. There's a lot of language interaction. So a lot of people, there's these meetups for people who want to speak Japanese or speak German or speak French or speak English. And they can be quite interesting. And then there's lectures and presentations and workshops. And you might see something that piques your interest. You might say, rather than just ramble around, I'll log in at 7 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 1 o'clock, and I'll try to access that. It's not critical that you do, but rather than if you wanted to, it might make your experience a little bit more meaningful. So it would be good if you got an opportunity to attend an event. The only reason I'm saying that is that it gives you a sort of an experience of what it's like before we actually do it for real on Tuesday. If you don't, that shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to talk you through it. It's reasonably straightforward, but it would be good to have a little practice. It would be good to have a little bit of practice done. And that's it. I mean, that's Allspace. Allspace. This is what it looks like. Now, this is what it looks like. What I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about when you're registering for Allspace and what might be useful for you to do. But I'm gonna share audio on this, and I'm just gonna put a little bit on just so that you maybe have a sense of how it looks. Okay, sorry. Share computer sound. Okay, I'm just gonna put this on for a second. It's quite long.
Oh, that's cool, Lynn. Oh, that's so nice.
Cool. Oh, it's nice to see so many people here.
Oh, that's cool. I like this. This is cool.
Well, GRCSFXD is super excited, and I hope everybody else is too. Hi, everybody. My name is Keegan. I am the program owner of Allspace VR. It means that I am partly at fault for everything that you have experienced here. Hopefully, you are enjoying yourself and your time in Allspace. My team works really hard to make this place very welcoming and entertaining and exciting, and all the things that you basically bring into it. Basically, we create the foundation. You guys are the amazing paintbrushes, and I don't know how many more metaphors I can come up with, but basically, I'm just grateful that you guys have made this such an amazing place. So with that.
Okay, I'm just going to stop it at that. Just to give you a sense, a feel for what the Allspace space feels like. So in the clip that you have there, one of the interesting things is when you're registering for Allspace, you'll be asked to create an avatar. And you're given a number of different options in terms of the type of physical embodiment that you want your avatar to have. It's really interesting why they do this. So you can appear as this one does on the left as a robot type avatar or as a humanoid type avatar. The reason that they've done it, I understand, is that there's a sort of a sense in which people don't have to declare their gender in Allspace. So if you became a humanoid, then you have to choose male or female, or you don't have to be as clear. You don't have anyway. So some people are more comfortable not going through all of that. So there's options. I would suggest maybe for our purpose of our exercise, because we'll only be interacting with each other, that it would be good if we presented as humanoids. If people were a human type shapes, that would probably be good. But we can look at that again. The other thing on the video that you might notice is that some people in the video can move both their hands, and other people can only move one. And that's the ones moving one have our headsets, and the ones moving two have 6 degrees of freedom or have more mobility than we do.
Welcome to Allspace VR. This is our first.
I'm actually going to stop it at that. I don't need to go through that any further. But so that's really what the space looks like. Now we'll pick a different type of meeting space to this meeting space, but there's all different types of digital spaces that you can use. Okay, so what I was hoping to, just to recap, it's what I was hoping that people would be in a position to do is download the apps and get familiar with their Oculus Go. So have had a chance to watch a video and one of the interactive experiences, and pick which one you want to do, and then register for Allspace, get into Allspace. What I would, this isn't absolutely necessary, but it would be useful, is if you created usernames that we could identify. So you'll be asked to you will be asked to create a username, and then I'll be sending the invitation to the username. I could send it to your email, but it's probably easier to send it to the username. If you were comfortable, okay, with doing this, if your first name followed by 2020 followed by the first letter of your second name was your username, that means we could it'd be easy for us to create a list of usernames. But if you want to create another username, feel free just to send it on to Kat, and Kat can send it on to me. What I would suggest as well is that if you did create a human type of avatar, and I'm not saying you have to, but if you were indifferent to which type of avatar you create, and the reason I'm saying that is that it's less distracting in a workshop environment when people are they have a similar type of avatar. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's okay. But if you were indifferent about which one you would do, then go with the humanoid one. So that's really it. And what I was hoping to do was that I'll check in between 3 and 4 on Friday, and if you've had a chance to do all of that, that's great. When I say I'll send a task on Friday, the task is to watch those videos. So I've already told you the task, so that's okay. But we can check in on the task on Friday. So if you've watched your video, and we won't be talking about it, it's just if you've had a problem in accessing it, you can talk with me and we'll see if we can figure it out on Friday. And then I'll send you an Allspace invite and a Zoom invite, and I'll just talk about the setup of the seminar. We'll need both Zoom and Allspace. We'll need both Zoom and the Oculus Rift for the seminar on Tuesday. I'm gonna hold there for 1 sec. I'm gonna hold there for 5 minutes, or pause before I go on. I have 2 slides left. But does that sound okay to people, or how are people feeling now in terms of what will need to happen between now and Tuesday week?
Well, just one brief question. When will we be able to send this on? Today after the seminar or tomorrow early morning?
I'll render it now, Catherine, so you can send it on now.
Okay, super.
It'll take me, what tends to happen is, the delay is that the video takes time to render, if that's the appropriate term, and then it takes time to put it up to YouTube. So, but my internet has speeded up quite considerably in the last week, so I should be able to do it in an hour or so.
So maybe we can share the PowerPoint presentation straight away and send the video later tomorrow morning. If that's okay?
That's okay. That's cool. How does everybody else feel about it?
Grand. Yeah, I think once we, I suppose, start looking into them, it might make a bit more sense. Yeah. Kind of going through it ourselves and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it seems pretty straightforward so far.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's straightforward. Yeah, it is. It's disorientating a little bit, Emma, I think, in terms of it's a whole new space. But I think the only way to get familiar with it is to get into it and start doing it.
Yeah.
That's cool. I am conscious, absolutely conscious, that it is a frantically busy time, and I would love if this could be downtime for you, that you could do this as a way of relaxing. And I hate the fact that I'm sort of saying it has to be done by this particular time, and it doesn't. Monday is fine, but if you do get a chance to look at it, if you do get a chance to try it out before Friday, and you're having any problems, check in with me on Friday. If it's the weekend, that's okay. So that's okay. That's the seminar. So I suppose I just wanted to, okay. I'm gonna finish here really, but I mean, I suppose the reason I'm interested in this, and I think it is worth giving VR, I suppose, some time in relation to this program, is that, whether you're looking at awareness raising, it can be quite a powerful tool to raise people's awareness about particular issues. The other thing is it's becoming increasingly a really interesting space for creativity. Whether that's 360 video or creating your own online experiences. And I said last week I'd talk with you about Unity, and I have some stuff that I'm trying to get access to you on. If any of you are interested in developing apps or developing stuff in 3D, I get you access to how you do that. The other thing that increasingly it's becoming a space for sharing stuff, and not just sharing content like YouTube is or social media is, but actually sharing experiences. And that is enormously powerful, especially when you can share those experiences in real time. So it's a bit like when Marie was chatting about the roller coaster. It is really funny watching somebody doing a roller coaster. But what is extraordinary is if you have two people with headsets sitting beside each other on a couch, both of them doing the same roller coaster at the same time. And they've both had this experience together. And that type of shared experience is important. And the other thing is that it is increasingly becoming a social space. I suppose the questions we want to ask of VR and youth work is, to what extent can it be a creative sharing space? And we'll talk about this. And how straightforward is it to make and share 360 video? And we'll talk about that. And can VR be used to engage with positive mental health? I think this is something that I suppose is really seen as being potentially an exciting space. And Catherine mentioned having access meditation. There's a lot of meditation, there's a lot of self-development, there's a lot of mindfulness in VR. What are the applications of VR with regard to STEAM? And then we're going to look at climate change and development education in VR. Okay, so the idea for the seminar on the 26th is that we'd start at 10 o'clock and we'd start with Zoom, and we just check in, set up on Zoom. And just once we have everybody, what we want to talk about then is people's experience of the tasks that I would have set. So how did you find the video? How did you find the experience of the interactive experience and that? So that both of those were going to be on Zoom. The reason I'd love to get onto Oculus and start from the very beginning and go through in some ways, but as you were saying, that it is disconcerting to have it on for too long and the battery runs. So what I was suggesting then is that we have a half an hour on the Oculus and we look at an interactive experience and we play a game. Then we play a game. So then the next thing is, so what I was going to do was we'll take a break and we can sort of break using Zoom. So we can have a coffee and maybe charge the Oculus and take a bit of a break. And then what we were going to do at 12 o'clock was kick into the Allspace. So between 12 and 1, we were going to have this online social space that will discuss the various different applications of VR and youth work. Going to have a break then after that. And then we're going to move on and have the Oculus. And we're going to explore some virtual reality apps that might be interesting in a youth work context. And then we're going to review the guidelines in terms of the use of games in youth work. And then we'll have a discussion on where we go next. I might make some slight changes to this, but that's broadly speaking, sort of half an hour on the Oculus, half an hour off, half an hour on, half an hour off, thereabouts, just for your own orientation and for the charging. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. What I might actually do, lads, is that what we might do is the interactive experience. I know I'd said to you to maybe look at that. Maybe what you could do is pick which one of the 3 interactive experiences that I outlined. And you don't have to, you need to download the app before Tuesday, but you can do the experience as part of the workshop. The difficulty, sort of, the reason I nearly need to tell you, and I'll send this on in more detail with Catherine, is that if I want everybody to do something together, everybody has to have the app downloaded, because the app could take, depending on your broadband speeds, it could take 10-20 minutes to download. So it wouldn't happen in the course of the seminar. So that's why if you want to, I think one was Wonders of the World and the other was the Art Gate, or Breaking Boundaries in Science. So once you have the app uploaded, then you can have the experience or do the experience in during the seminar, but you'll have to have the app uploaded ahead of time. So that's it. That's pretty much what I wanted to go through today. And if that's okay, I mean, and like, I suppose the way I'd look at it is if you need to chat on Friday, great. If you have a problem, I'll try and solve the problem. I may or may not be able to. But if you're all set, there's no need to. But I'll send the link with Catherine. I'll set it up now and I'll send the link. So I'll be here for an hour or so and I'll be able to problem solve. And I'll do the same on Monday as well. So I'll be available to you on Monday as well.
That's great.
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
Will we leave it at that?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great.
Thanks very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, cool.
Okay. See you whenever I see you, I suppose.
The next time we see you will be in some chat room and
Yeah. Here's up.
Allspace.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you guys.
How are you, Catherine?
Good. We stop the recording.
Hang on a sec, I'll stop it now.